E te tie te tā tēnā nau mai hoki mai ki tēnei papa o tanga o tātou o tino ki te reo irirangi o Whanganui awa FM. Ko te ia i nāia nei ko te kaumata i miniti. Hipa i te waru karaka i tēnei mane te kaumārima o pipiri rua mano o rua te kaumaono. We are back e te iwi atamari and we are back with Money Mondays with Uncle Rich. With Uncle Rich, where we keep it real and help you get your pūtea right. Ne? If you're new here, no mai aere mai. This is all about breaking down money in a simple, no jargon way so our whānau can go from surviving to thriving. Recap on last week. Morena, Uncle, how are we?
Very good, thanks, Bob. Morena tiwi. Yep, going well.
Going well. Before we jump in today, we do a quick recap from last week. We looked at where you're actually at financially, net, your assets versus liabilities. And as we went through the week, it was easier to announce it as what you own versus what you owe, making it a bit more simpler for our whānau, which means assets minus liabilities, which is my favourite equation so far, equals your net worth, what you own minus what you owe. So that's what we talked about last week, Uncle. What can we look forward to this week in today's episode 2 of Money Monday?
Yeah. So, morena. Just this week we're getting into a bit of the nuts and bolts, so we're going to start talking about bank accounts. But just first, I want to acknowledge all those that are sort of seeing me around and saying hello and talking about this stuff and doing some cool things. So, just mihi to those that are actually listening out there and getting involved. And, remember, it's just a stake in the ground, the net worth thing. So don't sweat on it. Just know that it's a position for us to gauge how we're tracking. So today we're going to work on a framework. It's a system. You know how I was talking around budgets and that in the words. So this is a system, a strategy for managing your money in your bank accounts. So, yeah. Nice.
So now that we know where we're at, stake in the ground today is about organising our money properly. So making sure our bank accounts are working for us. And not costing us anything, and setting up our money bucket system too, which we're going to get into later on. So, pātai is, how many of us are still using the same bank account we opened years ago? Does that work, Uncle?
Yeah.
Is that what we're...
Yeah. And majority will be, like we got put in with a bank because that's what Mum did for us back then, and we're still with that bank and we just plodded along and we go like that. So, with today being online, having access, you can set up an account on your app, right? And all those things. So it's about making sure you have the right accounts for the right job. So there's transaction accounts and then there's savings accounts. So making sure that you're not saving money in a transaction account because then you're not earning any interest, and make sure you're not transacting in a savings account because that's normally you get penalties for taking money out and all that sort of good stuff. So key step there is just have a look at your statements and make sure you're not getting charged any fees on these accounts, because now there's always online options. There's no fee options and all the banks have them, just depending on the bank you have. Make sure you're checking that, because that's just money down the drain for no thing. So, and then the other one to watch there is the ATMs. Yeah. Hey, watch those ones. I know, don't want to name, but down BP on Taupoki, man, I got done. That was $2.50 for a withdrawal of cash. Wow. That's real. I was like, what? And I needed to pay for something. So it was okay, but just be aware of these different things here and that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
And a lot of us don't realise that we could be paying fees for no reason or missing better options. So first step is we recommend do your own research. Do your own research. I'm one of those. I've been at the same bank because my mum and dad set it up for me. Been there for almost 25 plus years. Haven't moved because it works well for me. In addition to that, I have made a joint account with my partner. I don't want to get this off the kaupapa, but what are your thoughts on that, Uncle? Am I doing the right thing here, or what
most
is it?
Definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely. It's a team effort. Got to have everyone on the same page.
Cool.
Pūtea is just one of those things that you need to be across for each other. Saves all the tough conversations. It just shows commitment to each other, really.
Nice.
And that sort of thing. So no, most definitely. I just want to make another point on the bank accounts, because I know a lot of our old people still like going into the bank, and they got to be conscious of that, because they charge them to get money out. Some of those things, transactions over the counter now, getting charged fees and that. So if you are looking after your kuia and kraua, if you're looking after that, have a check on that and try and help them. I know I help my dad. He comes up home and sits down, and then I make payments and things on his phone, and I've automated as much as I can, and you'll see me go on about that. So just be conscious of our old people that still love that touch of going into the bank, of doing these things. Sometimes they charge you to put money in your own bank account. You know, it's like, what? That's crazy, but that's what's happening. So, but definitely in terms of the couples thing, shared accounts is, that's a key step.
Okay, great.
You're on the right track.
I'm on the right track, which thank you very much for that, because I'm just like, okay, what is the point of this second account? And obviously we're using it for all. Both our incomes go there, paying the bills, and then we give our own selves a bit of a, what is it? Not a bit of, a bit of a pūtea, you know, a week. So then we get to do our own things. And we don't, the biggest thing I've found is I don't judge what he does with his money, because it saves the wapai, the arguments and all of that.
You're literally talking to what I'm going to talk about today. No, but you're already there. And this is the point. Most of us are close. Yeah. But so this is just a system for organising your bank account. So the way I got this off Barefoot. Tab and I have been using this for, and it'll be over 10 years now.
Nice.
And still to this day. And because I was coming on here and doing this, I ran my own review, because ours has been set up for ages, right? We've got our account set up, our money goes, and all those sort of good things. So I went in and I did a little bit of a cheap version. I downloaded the last 3 months' transactions, chucked it into Copilot, told it to review my expenses, make sure that, and man, it was done like that. So I could then go in and go, oh yeah, that one could be adjusted, this amount could be there. Oh simple normal stuff I talked about, what pops up, Woolworths, Kai, those sort of things. So those are the big ones, like eating out, all these things we know, but once you're aware of actually how much that's costing you each week or additionally, so when you're ready, I'll...
Yes, Uncle. So, we've talked about the bank accounts, Itiwano, being mindful, do your own research, check your accounts for fees, any features or saving options as well, and the goal is simple. We want your money to be organised and a bit intentional with our bank account. So next, let's get into the bucket system, Uncle. I touched on it a bit, but let's talk more about that.
So it's a simple system. There's 4 accounts, okay? So there's 4 accounts. So like you have one account. I could literally use the book names, daily expenses. So that's, you'll see in my banking app, they are literally called that. So daily expenses, all your money goes in there, all your income goes in there. He sets a strategy of around 60%, so trying to get your living costs. So these are all your bills, your whatever, your rent, your mortgage, your groceries, your utilities, your fuel, like all those regular payments that you're happening, they come out of that bank. That's the one that does all the living. That's the big transactional account, right?
Yeah.
Now, for some, those numbers could be different, okay? So don't panic about the percentages. It's just a goal or an idea to figure out how you're doing that. So this is where it happens. So that's the main account. Then from that, they have a second account, which I still call it splurge, and it is literally pūtea to spend on whatever you want. So we set an allocation. The early edition of the book, and I did like this, was to give it out in cash. Like, because once you've got that money in your hand, it just takes that little bit more to spend or to give away. And, in the quick story, when we were in Wellington, when we lived in Wellington, Tab and I were doing this, well, I'd use it for my lunch. So I'd end up with cash, but I would, spend all mine. Well, Tab wasn't. So she ended up with these, like literally, and I was just like, far out, I'm spending so much money on lunch. So that made me, look at other avenues, look for other places to go for lunch, because I was too lazy to get up and make my lunch. But, that's the realisation of these things. But then I was like, no, you know what? It's okay. This is my money. I'm going to spend that on that. And that's what this account, splurge, to spend on what you want. So think of your hobbies, think of your entertainment, all those sort of things. So he says 10%. So 10% of your weekly income or however you get paid, have a think around those numbers. Again, adjust them as you need. His next bucket 3, is to smile. And I like this one because this is all around what you love doing. So for us, it's holidays. We literally have it still called Smile, but our money goes in there for holidays. So we do that. Any other things, motorbikes. That's
Yeah.
you know, we wait a bit of time, but those, you know, put the money away there so that you're building up for things that make you smile. So again, you know, don't have to use these names. You can call them whatever you want, but this is the system they put there. And he even words it nice, you know, around genuinely being happy and making memories. You're like, oh, that's, I like that. Now, number 4, he calls it the fire extinguisher bucket. Now, this one here, so remember, we've done 60%, we've done 10%, 10%, we've got 20% of our income left. This one here is used for paying down debt, paying down bills, that type of thing. If you've paid down your bills, then it's around building wealth. So this is a real powerful account. Again, it's around setting up those accounts at the top, allocating that money, sending it off each pay so that that money is put into the right bucket so that you can do these things. Now, we'll do debt payments in another session, so I don't want to get into that because there's some tricks around that as well that we can work to, some strategies around that as well. But this one here is fire extinguisher, and that's what it's used for. It's down for paying down those debt, those bills that you got there, because stepping back to our net worth, the best way to increase your net worth is to get rid of your debt. So that, you know, that makes perfect sense, right? Because that was the other thing. So this is a key step there in doing that. So those are the 4 buckets and how they work together. Now he adds in a number 5 and he calls it Mojo. And I know if you're a Austin Powers baby, you will know this. So again, kea koe, you know, you call it what you want. But we put this one in a separate bank. So we have this in a total different bank account. This one to me is the one that makes you feel safe. So first and foremost, the goal is to get $1,000 away in another bank account for emergencies. And this is for emergencies. This isn't for new shoes. This isn't for, you know, like, oh, we're going away on holiday. This is not. That's not an emergency. This is one of those ones that you have there for those ones. The car's broken down. I need tyres, you know, whatever to get to mahi. I need this done. That is an emergency. You go from there. So, and eventually you will build that up. You know, you'll build that up. The nice number that people use is sort of 3 months of living expenses, 3 to 6 months living expenses. And this one is around making you feel safe, right? That's what this one's about. So having that puti over there, knowing that if something does go bad, we can go into there and get that out, that's powerful, you know, because that takes that stress away of watching your things. So, he really has 5 accounts in them. And like I said, been using them for ages. So I can tell you it actually works.
Nice. Because I was thinking, my partai was going to be, around the fire extinguisher account that we put there. It's focusing on smashing out debt. So that means that that's not for emergencies. And then you've spoken about the Mojo, which is clearly for emergencies. So the big key takeaways that I'm taking away from this uncle is 1, Shade should have made his lunch this morning, and we're not spending on lunches. But I really like the concept of the smile account, you know, because like what we're trying to achieve here is break down the whole negative relationship with putia, and that we're constantly paying bills, or it's just such a nuisance, it doesn't provide us with happiness. But if we put it this way, changing the mentality, smile, we currently have our smile account under Fiji because that's the next holiday for us, and that's making us smile. I'm saying, okay, I don't need a birthday gift last week, that money can go into Fiji because that's going to make us smile, and we're going to have an awesome time there. So really encourage everyone to have this bucket system, because you know you've been in it for 10 years. I'm only going on almost a year with this system. Is it working? Do I have 6 months expenses then? Not just yet, but you know, it's a work in progress. That's what we're encouraging, right, Uncle? Do work within your own means. You know, correct. We're not following anyone. We're not keeping up with the Joneses or anything like that. And a big encouragement to everyone, just take a look at your accounts, set up those buckets, and 10 years, Uncle, it works.
It works, and it's a simple system. And like I said, I just adjusted ours over the weekend, because when I looked at it, I was just like, oh yeah, that's right, we're doing this now, or we're doing this. And don't forget, once you're making these payments out here to the fire extinguisher, once you get past the debt, you're putting it to you're putting it into your investments then, right? You know, so that's the other step. the smile one, thanks for, bringing that up, because we know a lot of our people, there's always stuff going on.
Yeah.
The kids' sport, the cuppas, how much merch, like all these things that are kept, but that makes you smile, right?
Yeah.
So then if you could allocate money consciously for that purpose, when it all comes around, you just know where to go and grab it from. You're not taking it from your daily expenses.
Exactly. Before we get into our next wahanga, we've been talking about bank accounts and the bucket system. Iti, those who are tuned in online, we've got a good viewership at the moment. E mihinui ana kia koutou. Kia tātou. Just really want some engagement in the comments. What are we thinking? How do we have a bucket system at the moment? Are we checking our bank accounts? Who do we bank with? That could be simple as that. Posting that in the comments just to get that engagement there. But e mihinui ana kia tātou. We'll be back just after this next waiata. We've got Johnny B. Good, Peter Tosh on Ways.
Every Monday morning from 8 to 8:30 a.m, it's your time to level up your putia with Money Mondays with Uncle Rich. We're talking real kōrero, real whānau, from budgeting and saving to KiwiSaver, investing and building wealth for the next generation. No jargon, no judgment, just practical tips to help you take control of your money and your future. That's Money Mondays with Uncle Rich every Monday morning right here on our FM.
Disclaimer, this is not financial advice.
Here comes the money.
Your money, your future, your move.
No mai hoki mai ki tēnei pāpāhotanga o tātou otino. Welcome back to Money Mondays with Uncle Rich. We've been speaking about banks, ensuring that we know what our banks are doing, what they're up to. And tuarua, we've been talking about bucket system. And this is about giving your pūtea a job instead of wondering where it's gone and what it's doing. Ne? So we've got just a refresher on the bucket system, Uncle. Daily expenses, 60%. So this is rent, kai bills, petrol, your everyday costs. Fire extinguisher, 20%, which is focusing on smashing debt. Now you're probably wondering, where does the emergency fund comes in? It comes in at bucket number 5. However, we've got my favourite bucket, which is bucket number 3, smile, 10%. Your goals, holidays, renovations, or future plans. Then we have bucket number 4, which is splurge at 10%. Spend on you, so no guilt. This is the shoes, the booze, maybe your coffee, and then tuarima is the mojo account, which is the emergency fund. Anything else to add in terms of that kōrero, Uncle, before we move on to our next part?
No, that's good wrap.
Nice. So we're keeping it simple. We're going to get into our tip of the week. Let's just play our good old waiata.
Tip of the week with Uncle Rich.
Ka pai, Uncle. What is our tip of the week today?
Okay, so I got a couple because I couldn't
Nice.
break it down to So our first one is automate as many payments as you can. So that's the key, automate. And tip number 2 is I have mine set up on my one bank card. I have my daily expenses as my check account and my splurge as savings.
Nice. Okay.
So I can do that with only one card in my, literally on my phone. So that's tip number 2.
Nice. We've got two for one. Iti wano. Episode 2 tips. But don't expect 3 in the next episode. So really, keep it simple. Yep. We're keeping it simple. Daily expenses equals check account. Splurge equals savings account. Linked to your card. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it as easy as possible. And then into our next one, our main action for the week is rename your bank accounts to match your buckets.
Correct.
And automate your payments where you can. So the benefits of automating our payments, Uncle, is...
it just takes away the thinking and it makes you do it because it's done. So when you know money's coming in and they go out straight away, you know what's left. That's the key bit too. So you're not just going, oh, that's right, I've got this bill coming or this going out. So try and automate as much as you can. And that goes back to the first bit we talked about, is working out those percentages for you. Having a look at all those costs and working out those numbers. But automating your money will make it so much less stressful. So.
Ka pai te wana. You've heard it here. That's Uncle Rich's tip of the week. Start small. Don't wait for perfect. Just start. That's us for another Money Monday with Uncle Rich. Less stress, more pūtea. Your money, your way. E te iwi. Thank you very much for coming in again, Uncle. It's lovely to have you in the studio. O te no, te wano, thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. We're episode 2, and we've got plenty more on way, so stay tuned. Any last words for our wano, Uncle?
Nah, just have a go, have a play. You guys are doing this stuff anyway. It's literally just a structure about how to manage your money, some things to help you. That's it.
Nice. E te iwi kia rawe te rā. Have a fabulous day, and we'll be back later on. We've got Sammy Johnson on way. Don't say goodbye. Awa FM.